What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Ball Game Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Trunks.
I'm Dean.
And I'm Ortiz.
We don't have Sullivan here, but it's okay. We're going to do a mock draft. Simple enough. Fantasy football. We're going to help you win your leagues. We're going to take you behind the scenes of what it's like to be in a high stakes, high payout fantasy football draft. But before we get into that, there's some news.
There's some news.
Big news.
Big news.
Massive
Some-
news.
some running back news.
Some AFC
Yep.
East running back news.
Indeed. So the New York Jets signed Dalvin Cook to a one-year deal
As
worth up
expected.
to $8 million. And the New England Patriots signed Ezekiel Elliott. So what are our thoughts and what are the implications of these signings for
I
both
think-
real football and fantasy football?
I think this is more of a move for the Jets than it is for the Patriots for these two moves because it gives them some insurance with Brees Hall since he's coming off injury. The Patriots didn't really need Zeke, but Ramondre didn't really want to be a bell cow like that anyway. He'd want to be the only running back. Now they have Zeke to be a third down back, whatever they want to do with him. But Dalvin Cook, they need him for the first few games of the season. And I think he's really going to help them out.
Well, I think even disregarding that, I think Dalvin Cook's just a better player than Ezekiel Elliott. So just
Yeah.
right off the bat, he's going to be more impactful for the Jets. Jets have a stacked running back room. They have Brees Hall, they got Dalvin Cook, they got Michael Carter. They just drafted Izzy. I don't know how to say his last name honestly from Pitt.
Izzy.
And then they're probably going to cut Bam Knight, which is fine. I mean, you only need 4 running backs. You don't need to go into the season with 5. But I guess the point of why the Jets would sign Dalvin Cook, and I think the biggest reason they should have, and they did, which I'm very happy about, was first of all, you had the cap space. You had money to spend. There's no reason not to spend it. The offense, the weapons are good. They're good. I'm not going to sit here and say they're great. So adding another piece, another veteran, a guy that has won football games, a guy who's been a part of a pretty tough division for a long time, I'm okay with adding a piece like that, letting Brees Hall ease back in, give him a couple carries first week, a couple carries the next week, run Dalvin Cook into the ground. It's a 1-year deal. Run him however many times you want. Don't have to worry about it. So I love the deal for the Jets, and for Brees Hall in particular. I think it helps him out a lot.
Yeah, I think for the Jets, it was a no-brainer. Like you said, you have the money. It's a 1-year deal, so it's not going to affect your cap whatsoever next year or the year after that. You had the money to spend. You have a running back who's returning from a serious injury where you need to ease him back into things. So why not pick up a guy who, yeah, he may be past his prime, he may be a little bit washed, but who could at least handle some of the workload, if not all of the workload, until Brees Hall is ready to go.
Right. And the point would be the Jets are going to be trying to make a deep playoff run. They want to be competitive towards the end of the year. You need your best running back available. At this point in time, I mean, we haven't seen Brees after his ACL surgery, but I assume Brees Hall's the better running back at this point in their careers. Dalvin Cook's aging. Brees Hall's just bursting onto the scene. I'm hoping by the end of the season, Brees Hall is exactly what the Jets needed, and Dalvin Cook does exactly the job that he was brought here to do. Take the first half of the season carries, and let Brees Hall ease back in and really just start destroying things, getting on a roll towards the end of the season, getting momentum for the playoffs. Ortiz, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's a great signing for the Jets. It's like the three you said, it's a huge thing with Brees coming back from injury, huge injury as an ACL tear. Having a running back like Dalvin Cook in your room, a nice veteran role, a nice veteran leadership role, he also brings into that locker room. I just think, as we said, easing him back in is going to be really important for the Jets and their future. So why not run Dalvin Cook into the ground for now until Brees Hall is 100% and ready to go?
Yeah, and another underrated aspect of it is the leadership thing. I don't know how Dalvin Cook is as a person off the football field, but he's been in this league for a while. He's been an All-Pro, been a Pro Bowler, been one of the best backs in the game for some time. So Brees Hall can learn a thing or two from him, which is definitely an underrated aspect. As for the Patriots, I think this is a big move for the Patriots. I think it's a really underrated move. Forget about what Zeke could do running the ball or, being a pass catcher. Zeke is one of, if not the best pass blocking running back in the entire NFL. And that goes a long way for a quarterback like Mac Jones. So I think Zeke's going to be great for them. He'll take some goal line carries from Ramondre. I don't think it hurts Ramondre's fantasy value whatsoever. I think we all knew Ramondre wasn't going to be able to handle the entire workload we saw last year. He got banged up towards the end. The Patriots said they're trying to, take away from his workload a little bit. So Zeke will get some carries. Zeke will be involved, but I still think Ramondre is going to be great. But I just think from a real football aspect, I think this helps the Patriots offense immensely.
Yeah, I don't think it changes his fantasy value too much, Ramondre. But for Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook, I think it lowers it for both of them. Honestly, I feel like Brees was already lowered because he was hurt, because we expected Dalvin to sign there. So I don't think it really changes from where he was. But the fact that he finally did sign, it's not like he's moving up draft boards.
It depends how early you're taking elite running backs in drafts. So if you end up taking a guy like Eckler or Bijan pretty early, guys who are going to take the workload and get a lot of points, you might be more comfortable taking Brees. I don't know where he's going to fall after the signing had just happened, but he's going to be a guy that you might be able to use for the playoffs. He might be a good playoff pick, but I don't know if I'm willing to spend a first, second, third rounder anymore on a guy like Brees Hall, who you don't even know how many carries he's going to get until week 8, week 9. You know what I mean? How long could you really even wait? As a fantasy manager, am I depending on that the whole season? Probably not.
And even towards the end of the year, he might not even be an elite running back. The Jets might, Dalvin Cook might perform really well, and it just might be a two-headed beast for the Jets for the remainder of the season, even when Brees Hall gets healthy.
Neither of them could be trusted, I think, this year in fantasy.
Agreed.
Now, I think they're going to be solid pieces to fill in here and there, maybe a flex spot. Dalvin Cook first few weeks of the season, but I'm not trusting them whatsoever to carry my team.
So Osweezy asked the question, before we get into our mock draft, we can answer this, but what round do you guys usually draft RB1s? So I'll answer first. I'm disappointed if I'm leaving the first 2 rounds without a running back. Sometimes you have to, because that's just the way the draft board falls, and there's value in receivers or tight end Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, or one of the elite quarterbacks falls to you in round 2. So sometimes you have to, but I like to have my draft be balanced, and I like to, not go heavy on one position, receiver or running back. So towards the end of the draft, I could draft for value, and I'm not drafting for positional need. If I'm in the 8th round and there's a bunch of good receivers on the board who have good value at the pick there in the 8th round, but I drafted 4 receivers already and I have to draft a running back, I'm not too happy.
I agree. I think it just depends on what pick you have and what's on the board. Like, say you're at the end of the first round and you have like CeeDee Lamb and Stephon Diggs on the board, and the top running backs are gone. The next running back up is like Derrick Henry. I'm taking the 2 wide receivers before I take Derrick Henry, and then I will wait until the next round.
I don't know if I agree with that. I like to stock up on like maybe first 2, maybe even the next 3rd round. First 2 rounds, I like to go running back. I think if you stack up on running back, you just set yourself up for a lot better position towards the end of the season. I think running backs are more prone to getting injured. So if you have a backup option or plan, it's a lot easier to replace a receiver than it is a running back. So if you have about 3-4 guys that you trust, that you really trust, I think you're set up for good success. And I think even if you have 4 of those running backs and you end up being deficient at receiver towards the end of the season, someone's going to need a running back in your league. You're going to be able to trade one of them and get some kind of value. So I don't think you could ever go wrong with taking too many running backs.
It's true, but I feel like this year it's different because wide receivers usually don't go as high as they are this year with like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. I feel like wide receivers, they usually don't start going off the board until the first one, maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th pick. Right. The first pick is going to be a wide receiver this year,
Mm-hmm.
So I think
that's what's making running backs more valuable now.
Yeah,
because like Dean said, people are, because of the last few years where these running backs have been getting hurt and been question marks, people are drafting receivers early. So like Dean said, there are going to be people who have a plethora of receivers. More people than not are going to have depth at receiver over running back in your league. So if you're the guy who has, 4 top end, not top end, but 4 running backs you could trust, and say you who drafted a bunch of receivers, one of your star running backs goes down, you're now in the trade market with me. I control, if I draft 4 elite running backs, their drafts, I've done drafts where I've drafted 4 straight running backs in a mock. I've left with, let's just say, for example, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, and then Joe Mixon in the 4th round, 4 elite running backs. Now I control the running back trade market
Right.
for the whole season. I control it. If
Yeah.
anyone needs a running back, the first person they're going to come to is me before they go to anyone else.
Because they know
I-
you have the depth and you are willing to trade those
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
And you could end up snagging like a really top end receiver for a guy that you drafted in the 3rd, 4th round because of what your strategy was in the draft. It all starts in the draft. Like honestly, it sucks, but that is the most important day, obviously, in the whole
Obviously.
fantasy season.
Yeah.
So you really have to be smart about what you're
Yeah, it really depends on, there's a bunch of different draft strategies you could go with, and a lot of it always just depends on how the board falls for you.
Right.
Like I just said, those 4 elite running backs, the board might not always fall for me that way.
Right.
Like I'm never going into a draft saying, yeah, my first 4 rounds, I'm drafting 4 running backs. But like I did one particular mock draft where that's just how the board fell for me, and like the value was too good to pass up.
Right.
And like I said, now I control the running back market for the whole year.
Yeah.
And I'm never opposed to taking Kelsey in the 1st round.
No,
if
me either.
Kelsey's there, I'm going to take him because there is really no other player in the league that could equal his value in fantasy.
I completely
It doesn't
agree.
exist. It really does. 20 plus points a game from the tight end position that nobody else could replicate is invaluable. It really is. He's untradeable. He's really, I think he's a top 2 fantasy asset, maybe like ever, honestly, in the last few years.
Yeah, when it comes to positional strength, he's definitely the top of every list for every
And it's not even
position when it comes
close.
to it.
Not even remotely close.
I completely agree.
Yeah. All right. So we could get into this mock draft right now. So we spun the wheel for who has what pick. I guess Matty J's in here with the 3rd pick.
He's in here.
back.
So I have the 1st pick, which is pretty cool. Matty,
Just letting you guys know before we start, it's a 12-team full PPR.
yeah, 12-team full PPR, 2 flexes. We're not drafting kicker and defense because that's pretty boring.
Yeah.
Sorry, kicker. Sorry,
But-
defense.
I have the 1st pick. Matty J has the 3rd pick. Trunks has 8. Dean has 10, and Ortiz has 11. So honestly, we could just get right into it.
Let's get
And the
into
stream
it.
could see our draft.
This is the draft board.
Amazing.
Cool.
So with the 1st pick in the BallGame mock draft, I have a tough decision on my hands. There's Justin Jefferson, there's Christian McCaffrey, and there's Bijan Robinson. And I've drafted a lot of Bijan Robinson in mock drafts, so I'm gonna just do the smart thing here, avoid getting clowned in the comments. I'm gonna take Justin Jefferson with the 1st overall pick.
Wow.
Smart move.
Good value, I
Smart
think.
move. Great
Yeah,
value.
good value.
Great value. Christian McCaffrey goes 2nd overall. Matty J. He takes Jamar. After that goes Travis Kelce, Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Bijan Robinson.
Bijan went low. I feel like
I
think
think
usually
that's-
when
no,
I do
that's
my
normal.
mocks, Bijan usually goes in that 5 to 8 range.
Yeah.
Usually because I'm picking at 8 in
Mhm.
our draft. I usually end up with Bijan on my team.
what are you thinking, Tron?
So I'm on the clock, the 8th pick, and I think it's pretty easy. I'm going Tyreek Hill over here. I think he's the best value on the board.
And I feel like I have a tough decision on my hands right
Stephon Diggs just went 9.
now. So I definitely want to go running back. Saquon scares me. Saquon's injury history scares me. The Giants offense scares me. I just don't trust it. So for that reason, and I might be taking him slightly early, but it's a guy that I love. Take
Gosh darn. I
Wow.
was going to take Nick Chubb with the 11th pick.
Oh, we know you were.
Just with Kareem Hunt there, I think like Nick Chubb going in this late 1st round, early 2nd round range could be the steal of all fantasy football
Yeah.
this year.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, the upside for him at his position is easily top 3 to 5 range.
No, the upside for him is number 1. He could be
Well,
the
the
running
floor,
back 1.
You're right. The floor for him is 3 to 5 range as a running back, barring all injuries. But with my next pick, as I said, I was going to go Nick Chubb here. And Dean brought up a good point with Saquon's injury history. I'm a bit iffy on that. So I'm going to lean receiver here. I'm going to go with a PPR machine. I'm going to go CD Lamb.
Good. Team 12, take Patrick Mahomes, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Ortiz is back on the clock.
Now, Saquon's still here. Look at me in the face.
He is still there.
Leaning towards him or AJ Brown here. If I want to set up my receiver room with 2 young NFC East receivers. I think I'm going to lean towards that and just stock up on receivers. Receivers have done me very well in the past. I'm going to go with the A.J. Brown my next pick.
So at
Good
this
pick.
pick, I'm elated, honestly, considering I almost took Saquon with my 10th pick, and he's still around on the turn. I'm taking Barkley. My running back room up real nice with Nick Chubb and Saquon. I'm going into the season so happy.
It's a good pick. Derrick Henry goes next, and I'm on the clock. So I took Tyreek Hill with my first pick. I have a tough choice here because obviously if there wasn't any of that injury concern, whatever that is with Jonathan Taylor right now, he'd be the obvious pick. But we don't know what's happening with him right now. So I don't know if I want to risk that. I do see Devontae Adams right here, and I think I'm going to go with 2 wide receiver strategy for my first 2 picks and go with
The draft then goes Jonathan Taylor, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Josh Jacobs, and now Sullivan is back on the clock.
This is interesting. Okay. Never
So he
mind.
goes with
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, and then Mark
Well,
And Chris is
and
going.
then Mark Andrews was the next pick. And now Chris is on the clock.
I am, but
what happened.
I closed the draft out. But
Well, it's okay. We're back.
Sick.
so now I'm on the clock, and I see a guy who I debated for on the podcast last what was that, Tuesday? We did the great debate episode, and I had to debate for Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's going to be an RB1. There's no Ezekiel Elliott. All the things I said. Ran for 5.3 yards per carry. He was involved in the passing game. You expect him to get an even bigger workload. He is coming off an injury, so that's a little bit scary. But I'm okay with Tony Pollard being my RB1 here. And then I have back-to-back, obviously. I'm going to go with my guy, Chris Olave. I have him in Dynasty. He's one of, I think, 7 guys to run for over 2.5 yards per route run in their first year. All the other guys finished as wide receiver 1s the following year. Him and Christian Watson actually fit into this category, but getting one of the better deep ball throwers in the league as his quarterback in Derek Carr. So, yeah, I'm going to take Chris Olave.
I like the pick.
After that goes Najee Harris, and Matty J is back on the clock.
I know who he's picking right now.
I think I know.
He's
Of
picking
course.
Ramondre Stevenson.
That's what I was going to say. Good guess, Dean.
Let's see what. Yep.
Yep, there it is.
Ramondre Stevenson.
After that goes Travis Etienne, Brees Hall.
See, I don't think
Jalen-
Brees Hall goes this high anymore. I don't know if Sleeper is updated or
It is.
whatever.
It is. Yeah.
Maybe Team 5 just fumbled the bag.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Travis Etienne, Brees Hall, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith.
And now Trunks.
And I'm on the
are
clock.
back
Just me personally, I probably wouldn't take Brees Hall that high. I can't speak on Team 5 and what their thought process is, but
That's fair. I can't speak on that thought process either.
With
considering
this
they probably
pick,
don't have a thought process. It's
Yeah.
a computer.
Isn't
so
it?
I went 2 receivers with my first 2 picks. So I need a running back, and I'm gonna go with Joe Mixon over here. Next goes Joe Burrow, and Dean's on the clock.
Like I really don't want to keep doing it. But
Do it.
man,
Do it.
Man.
taking my boy Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, if there's 3 running backs, I'm actually going to lean against taking my running back now. I want to get my my quarterback out of the way. I'm very big on having a marquee quarterback to lead my fantasy team, and who better than Lamar Jackson?
All right. So before you pick, I have to ask, why are you picking Lamar Jackson there?
I just think the upside, obviously, of Lamar Jackson possibly being the QB1 in fantasy leagues is going to win me leagues, especially after.
I know, but we did quarterback rankings, and you had
I
Justin
had him-
Fields and Justin Herbert all above him. You had Lamar as your quarterback 7. So why wouldn't you draft
I
the
thought you were
guy?
going somewhere else with that. That I'm also gonna say after you answer this, but
I had a bit
It
of
is
a-
quite contradictory.
It is. I had a bit of a change of heart on Lamar Jackson.
Nice. I'm glad you came around.
Yeah,
Based on-
I
based
he's
on
definitely
what?
gonna finish higher than Herbert. That's for sure.
Definite.
Definite. That's Tony.
Tony T
That's Tony
guarantee?
T guarantee.
Wow.
so
I have him in. I would say QB. I'm not gonna say QB1 just yet, but that obviously that's the goal, but
Mhm.
I'm going to say top 5 QBs.
So, as a
Right
piece of advice here, if you're at the end of the first round, if you're at the end of a round, whether it's the beginning or the end, at the turn, and the teams in between your 2 picks took a quarterback or a tight end, don't take them. Wait for your second pick.
Yeah, that's a good point because Team 12 took Mahomes already.
They weren't taking Lamar.
I didn't even look at Team 12. Wow. I mean, yeah, you're right. Now this puts me in kind of a pickle here drafting my next pick, still with no running back. I don't really want to reach on anyone yet. So I'm going to probably stick with the still no running back strategy. And I'm going to go T. Higgins here. Just build up my receiver room. Chris brought up a good point of if you
Okay.
hold a lot of the receivers, you have a market for them, you can control it. So
All right. I still don't have a receiver.
you should take a running back.
I only have running backs.
You should take another one.
Take another one.
Honestly, like the options are still good. Like I'm still considering it's a 2 flex league. You need depth at running back. You need it. But that's not what I'm gonna do. I really like Amari Cooper this year, and for that reason, I'm gonna pick Amari Cooper.
All right.
Nice. That is a good reason to pick him if you really like him this
Yeah.
year.
That's a great reason.
Yeah.
So after Amari Cooper goes Deebo Samuel, and I'm on the clock now. When I'm drafting, I usually like to lock up either a quarterback or a tight end in the first 4 rounds. But the way that I drafted with 2 receivers and then a running back, I feel like I need to lock up another running back. And I see Aaron Jones right here. And I'm very torn between him and TJ Hawkinson right now. But I think I'm going to go with Aaron Jones right here. After that goes Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Kenneth Walker, and Terry McLaurin.
Oh, Sully's not even online. Oh, there
He
we
is
go. He's
online.
back.
He's here.
What do you
I
think
really like Team 4's team. Kelsey, Jacobs, Etienne, and McLaurin.
of this team? Who do you think
I'm not a
Sully's
fan.
going to go with here?
You don't like Etienne? Who do you not like?
DJ Moore.
He takes DJ Moore.
Wow.
And then Justin Fields.
I just don't personally for me, I just don't trust Justin Fields' throwing ability enough to take his receiver in the 4th round. I
Mhm.
know DJ Moore's good.
I agree with you.
I know
So,
he is.
I feel the same way with Terry McLaurin, though. I'm not going to lie.
I don't mind Sam Howell as much as I mind Justin Fields for whatever reason. I know that doesn't make sense. I know that objectively, I know Justin Fields is probably a better thrower at this point. I just still prefer Terry McLaurin over DJ Moore.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
So I'm a little bit bamboozled here. Those were the 2 players that I was going to pick back to back. I've been preaching about the Justin Fields DJ Moore stack all off season. That's what I'm trying to do in the 4th and 5th rounds. I thought having the back-to-back picks here, I thought it was going to be able to get done. And
Chris sounds pissed.
I really like drafting Justin Fields in the 4th round because I hate everyone else. I hate everyone else in this area, but I guess I'm gonna keep building my receiver room here. I'm gonna go with 2 guys that I love in this draft cycle. First one, Drake London, a guy who, saw over 20% target share, and then another 2nd-year receiver. Honestly, it looks like I'm building a dynasty team here with how young my team is, but talked about him when I talked about Olave, Christian Watson. And that's what I'm going to do. And then goes Alvin Kamara.
How long is Kamara suspended?
3 games.
Yeah.
I'm devastated, but it is what it is.
You better hope Tony Pollard pops off.
Well, good thing this isn't a real league.
Yeah.
It's only a mock draft.
Yeah, but you're mocking,
We're mocking.
for realsies.
It is a real mock. Whatever that means.
Have you ever done a fake mock?
I guess not.
And so he then goes Damian Pierce, and then the draft proceeds to go
Wow.
Jerry Jeudy, DeAndre Hopkins, Hawkins Saki, and George Kittle.
Well, as you all know, last round, I said I love taking either a quarterback or a tight end, and I was going to take either one of those tight ends if they fell, and they both went right before my pick. So we pivot
Pivot.
to a different tight end, Kyle Pitts.
Man, I get Kyle
Wow.
Pitts every mock draft. Come on, Trunks.
All right.
After that goes Miles Sanders, and Dean's on the clock.
Gonna take Darren Waller here.
Everyone's
Solid
taking
pick.
tight end. I feel left out.
I mean, you can take one too
Once
if you
they
want.
start going, you start to feel a little bit of pressure
Mhm.
to get it done
Especially 4 just went in this
because you don't
round
want to put
alone.
it off too far, but you don't particularly like.
You
It's
don't
hard
wanna
to
reach.
figure out who the first person to take out of Hawkinson, Kittle, Pitts, and Waller. Like who's going to be the first guy to go for it? Because then it's going to start spilling out after that.
Well, I think it's about time. All the 5th round tight ends are gone. It's about time I take a running back at this point. And this is a little bit of a reach based on his ADP, but just in case if Team 12 has the idea of taking him, they're not going to because they also have no running backs. I'm going to go with Cam Akers here. Cam Akers we saw what he could do when he gets the bulk of the touches. He's top 10 running back in fantasy wise at least. So hopefully he can get those touches.
After that goes J.K. Dobbins and DeAndre Swift.
And I was gonna take either one of them as my other running back. There's
There's still some other running backs here.
there's still some cool ones here. Could go ahead. Yeah, I think I'm gonna lean towards Alexander Madison. I mean, we saw what we could do as a backup to Dalvin Cook. We saw how efficient he could be when Dalvin Cook isn't there. So Dalvin Cook's he's not there for life now. So
That's true.
that boy's a Jet.
So I'm lacking at receiver at the moment. I only have Amari Cooper. I have 3 running backs. I picked a tight end already. Definitely lacking at receiver. Staying away from Chris Godwin. I don't like Michael Pittman. I'm also not a fan of AU given how many weapons are in San Francisco. Same thing with Tyler Lockett. I know you guys are high on the Seahawks offense. I just think that he ends up being kind of the odd man out. And I love Jacksonville's offense. I love what Christian Kirk did last year. So for that reason, I'm taking Christian Kirk with this pick.
After that goes Dalvin Cook, and I'm on the clock. So, I see Trevor Lawrence here, and I want to take him. I feel like I can't because I did just take Kyle Pitts. I need another receiver or running back. And at this point, I think my best option is going to be to go with a running back. And I think I'm going to go with James Conner here. Last season, when Kyler Murray went out, he was very efficient. He's a very good option at running back. And this season, Kyler Murray might not play much. So hopefully he continues to do that.
Might not play at all.
Do you think
Yeah.
he's gonna play Trunks?
I think he will eventually. But the start of the season, I'll have a good running back option right here. And after that goes Chris Godwin, Brandon Ayuk, Trevor Lawrence, and JSN.
Wow. And Sullivan's on the clock.
On the cock. I mean,
He takes his
Clock.
boy, George Pickens. After that goes Javonte Williams, and Chris is on the cock.
I think you should take more receivers. Michael Pittman's looking pretty good.
see, there's nothing wrong with your strategy, Chris, but I just like. I'm just gonna let you pick.
What's wrong with my team?
Yeah, say it.
No, nothing,
Say it.
Nothing. Go.
What's the beef?
Just pick. I'll tell you after.
So
you
with the
pick.
first pick, I'm going to take a guy who he may not be great in terms of real football, may not be an efficient runner of the football, but he's going to see a shit ton of targets probably. He was elite as a pass-catching running back last year. I'm going to go with my guy Rashad White to be my RB2. And then with my next pick, I'm going to reach a little bit here. You know, according to Sweeper, there's a bunch of guys who are ranked ahead of him, but I've been preaching about drafting this guy in the actually, no. No.
Look at team 2. It's the 7th round, and they don't have a receiver yet.
I'm gonna-
I think you could live with it though.
I'm going to take a tight end here because there's a little bit of a tier gap between the next tight ends here. I'm going to take the last of, I guess you could say, elite tight ends. I don't think he's going to be the tight end 1, 2, or 3, but I think his floor is the tight end 7. That's as low as he'll go. He'll be. So I'm going to take Dallas Goedert here. Just a good safety blanket. He'll get some targets, score some touchdowns. Just be a solid option at tight end.
Then Michael Pittman goes after. Matty J takes James Cook. We got Hollywood Brown, Mike Evans, Isaiah Pacheco, Tyler Lockett, and now Trunks is on the clock.
I was hoping that I'd get one of Mike Evans or Tyler Lockett here.
We are in the 7th round, by the way.
I really want to go receiver again.
How many rounds is the draft? 13.
13. Yeah.
You guys want to rattle off your team after this round? Just
Sure.
let the audience know where we're at.
Sure. All right. So with this pick, I think I need a receiver. I haven't gone with one since the first 2 rounds. And I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson.
Nice.
I think he's a consistent option. He's been a solid receiver
Well,
past few seasons.
both of my options just got picked. A receiver who I was going to take.
It was between those 2 guys.
Definitely.
Mike Williams went after.
But I think the
picked.
guy that I'm taking right now, also a really good option, also going to have a really solid season. I'm taking Jahan Dotson.
I'm gonna keep stacking up my running backs here. I see Monty looking at me dead in the face, and I kind of have to take him here with my my 7th round pick. I'm gonna get my flex option out of the way and get David Montgomery. Draft then goes Evan Ingram and Quentin Johnston. I was looking at Evan Ingram, but it's fine. No. Gonna take a bit of a gamble here with a rookie wide receiver. We obviously haven't seen him play in the NFL, but going to go with Jordan Addison. Could be a very good number 2 behind Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, them opening up the field for him.
So I'm gonna. This is tough. I need a quarterback. I'm looking at the quarterbacks. I know Dak's right there. I know the upside of Dak. I know the floor of Dak is pretty high. But I think the ceiling of what Anthony Richardson could be, bless you, given that he was just named the starting quarterback week 1, I'm going to take Anthony Richardson. His running upside is just too good to pass up for me.
You reached on him a little.
I did, but it's a guy that I really wanted that I felt like might have not been there on the turn.
Bless you.
Bless
All right. Next goes Juju. And with this pick, I don't really like any of the other positions on the board. I don't have a quarterback yet. I have Tyreek Hill with my first pick. I'm going to match him up with Tua. It's my quarterback.
So we're not picking any kicker defense, right?
No kicker defense.
After that goes Kadarius Toney, A.J. Dillon, Rashad Penny, Dak Prescott, Pat Freiermuth, and Treylon Burks. Chris is on the clock.
So I am on the clock here, and there's a guy that I absolutely love in fantasy this year. I think he's an absolute steal going this late, the end of the 8th round, beginning of the 9th round. I think he's going to have some type of role. It may not be a bell cow role, but this deep in the draft, you're not drafting a running back that's going to be the bell cow. But the thing that entices me about this specific player is the receiving upside. He's the next coming of Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to take my guy, Antonio Gibson. And then with my next pick, I'm going to take a guy who has unlimited upside. I may not need a receiver right now, but the value is just too good. He could end up, rookie receivers, I always say, they normally take off in the second half of the year. This is a guy who could be a league winner. All the reports out of camp are about how great he's been. Zay my name, Zay Flowers.
Zay my name. I changed my name back, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I like to say my name.
I liked it too. I just not enough to make it my dynasty team name.
After that goes Brandon Cooks, and Matty J is on the clock. Does everyone like their team so far?
I like my team.
I don't like drafting from the 101.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's too much time in between my picks.
Mm-hmm.
Based on situation, my team's cool.
I like my team a lot, honestly.
I think my team's okay. Like, my team has a chance, but
I think my team's winning it all.
Every team has a chance in fantasy.
so
football.
he drafts Khalil Herbert, then goes David Njoku, Jamal Williams, Watson, and Gabe Davis.
I had my Gabe Davis for sure.
All right.
It's definitely
See, at
disappointing.
this point in the draft, I could really take this anywhere. I could go with any position, and I was going to take Khalil Herbert if he fell to me, but he did not. So I'm going to go with the upside of Michael Thomas in the 9th round.
Interesting.
Looking at the upside, I think it's there at this point in the draft.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it is your 4th receiver in the room, and you do have 3 very serviceable receivers ahead of him. So
Mhm.
This might
might as well take a stab at it.
Team
After
9
that goes
drafts Aaron Rodgers.
and this might change by the end of the year. I could see Zay Flowers overtaking him, but I'm going to take Odell Beckham, given he's going into the season as the first receiver on the Ravens.
He got locked up in joint practice this morning.
Wow, he got locked up
By-
on one play.
No. The whole practice, they said. You know by who?
The Commanders' corner, right?
Yeah, Emmanuel Forbes.
Forbes.
Learn the name, everyone.
I am on the clock, and I went with a rookie last round, and I'm gonna lean towards rookie again and take Zach Charbonnet. Just a very good runner of the football. Nice handcuff to have.
And Kenneth Walker's also hurt, by the way.
Bro, see, this is why I hate doing mock drafts. Why the fuck did Team 12 draft Kirk Cousins?
No idea.
What's the point?
They always usually draft 2 quarterbacks. Yeah, Team 9 who took Aaron Rodgers took Joe Burrow in
What's the
the
point?
3rd round.
That is pretty nuts.
That's it.
The team that took Jalen Hurts took Deshaun Watson.
They're all gonna do it by the end of the draft. It's
Just
just the
so-
way the
It's just so
Yeah.
silly of
AI
them.
works.
After that
Sleeper,
goes Kirk
fix your
Cousins
mocks.
and Brian Robinson.
For my next pick, I'm finally going to get my tight end here. I think this is really good value for a rookie tight ends, for a rookie quarterback's tight end. I'm going with Dalton Schultz.
I really like Dalton Schultz here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really big safety blanket for
Yes.
a young quarterback.
Given health, this guy could be really good.
What guy is that?
You give him health.
It's your pick. You could say the name.
That's true.
You can go through your thinking.
But I'm torn between 2 guys on the same team.
Who are the guys? You're on the clock. You could say the names.
I'll tell you in a second, Trunk.
We're
gotta
recording a
build
podcast,
suspense.
so you have
Yes,
to
go
talk through
through-
your pick.
All right. Well, I'm between Raheem Mostert and Devonta A-Chain.
Okay.
Obviously we haven't seen A-Chain do anything yet, but Raheem Mostert, the upside of Raheem Mostert, one of the fastest dudes in the league, but he doesn't stay healthy ever. So I'm taking A-Chain.
All right, good. If you took Mostert there, I would have really questioned that. Not gonna lie. That would have been a very heavy reach.
And then go Samaje P. Ryan.
Go Samaje.
All right. With my next pick, I think I want to get another running back, and I think Jerick McKinnon here at this value is a very good pick. He popped off at the end of last season, finished as the RB 20 in PPR leagues. I think is a good value at this point in the draft.
Team 4 is so funny. Within
Why?
3 rounds, Dak Prescott, David Njoku, and Geno Smith.
After Jerick McKinnon goes Elijah Moore, Cortland Sutton, Cole Kmet, Geno Smith, Rashad Bateman, and Dalton Kincaid.
So now I'm on the clock. I'm going to take my guy, the franchise, the goofball, to be my starting quarterback,
The goofball.
Jared Goff. And then with my next pick, I'm going to take I am going to reach on Raheem Mostert here. It's definitely a reach, but given my running back situation, I think he kind of fits perfectly in with my team. If he is the RB1 there in Miami, we know he's going to produce fantasy-wise. So, hopefully he stays healthy. The other running backs in that range, they're all definitely the backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're good handcuffs to have, but for my team, I need a guy who could actually emerge as the RB1 in their situation there. So, Raheem Mostert. Whoop, whoop.
After that goes Jameson Williams, Tyler Algier, Damian Harris, Alan Lazard, Adam Thielen, and Chiggy.
Big Chig.
Chiggy, 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 can't you see? Sometimes
And I'm on the
you
clock again.
hypnotize me.
I honestly don't even know where I want to go here.
I want to go home.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Kind
of.
I think I'm going to take a backup tight end here, just for bye weeks in case Kyle
Sorry,
Pitts
I
gets
just
hurt,
Yawned on the pod.
and I'll go with Tyler Higbee.
Nice. And then goes Elijah Mitchell. Now Dean's on the clock.
I am on the clock, aren't I?
You are indeed.
I'm gonna take Sky Moore.
Nice.
I'm actually going to. Am I going to match you just yet? No, not yet. I'm going to go another receiver here and go Darnell Mooney.
After that goes Jacoby Myers and Romeo Dobbs.
12th round now. I feel like this is pretty decent value for a touchdown merchant like himself. As we talked about him before, just signed with the New England Patriots. I'm going to go with Ezekiel Elliott.
Damn. Good pick.
I like the value.
I was going to go there.
Okay. This is gonna be a reach for sure.
It's all right. It's the last 2 rounds.
For sure, gonna be a reach, but I really like the upside of Jalen Hyatt and the Giants.
Team 9 drafts Greg Dulcich.
And I'm going to take Tyler Boyd for my next pick. Get another receiver in there. After that goes Daniel Jones, Devin Singletary, Russell Wilson, Rashee Rice, and Matty J's up.
He's not down. He's not down.
Not at all.
Far from it.
Who do we think he's going to go with here with his next pick?
I don't know. He's taking so long. This is why I didn't want him to join,
He's not even here.
because
He's at work.
right.
Yeah.
He's
uh,
at work.
And like we were
Right.
gonna have to talk through his picks.
So let's just go through our teams real quick. Who do you guys have?
I've Jared Goff, Tony Pollard, Rashad White, Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, Dallas Goedert, Drake London, and Christian Watson. And then my bench consists of Gibby, Flower, and Mostert.
Nice. Trunks, who do you have?
I have Tua, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Kyle Pitts, James Conner, Deontay Johnson, Michael Thomas, Jerick McKinnon, Tyler Higbee, and Tyler Boyd.
I like your
Nice.
team.
Ortiz, who do you have?
We'll go you next. So we'll in order of picks.
All right. I have Anthony Richardson, Nick Chubb, Saquon, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, Darren Waller, Jameer Gibbs, Jahan Dotson, Odell Beckham Jr., Devon A. Chain, Sky Moore, and Jalen Hyatt. I love my team.
My team, we got Lamar Jackson, Cam Akers, Alexander Madison, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Dalton Schultz, T. Higgins, David Montgomery, Jordan Addison, Zach Charbonnet, Darnell Mooney, and Ezekiel Elliott.
And we all went through our teams, and Sullivan still has 20 seconds left on the clock.
So, okay, one thing I will say about my strategy that I regret that I will evaluate later on is I went 3 straight running back and then I abandoned the strat. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went 6 straight rounds without picking a 4th running back. And I don't think there's anything wrong with going 3 straight running back, but I abandoned it, so I really don't even control any kind of the running back market. I just ended up taking 3 straight running backs. So I feel like if I were to do that again, I'd probably just finish the job and take a 4th running back somewhere in between 5th and 6th round, somewhere over there.
Yeah. So Sully got auto drafted Rondell Moore. Team 2 took Bryce Young. I'm gonna take Kendra Miller here, back up for the Saints. Could carve out a role for himself while Kamara's suspended. And then with my last pick, I'm gonna take Justin Ross from the Kansas City Chiefs. Had a touchdown in the first preseason game. We know what he did in college. Had some unfortunate injuries, but he's back on the football field. I think there's a real chance that he could emerge as the wide receiver 1 in Kansas City. I wouldn't bet on it, but this is my last pick in the draft. So if I could potentially get the number 1 receiver in that offense this late in the draft, fuck it. Then goes Deontay Foreman. So he auto-drafted Tank Bigsby, Jonathan Mingo, Sam Laporta, Gerald Everett, Jalen Warren, and Trunks is on the clock.
With my last pick, I know he's not on a team right now, but I saw that the Vikings might be interested. And if he gets signed, maybe he has a shot at getting the lead back role, taking Kareem Hunt.
Nice.
Just as a flyer,
So I'm at my last pick of the draft.
Michael Gallup just went.
I don't know what to do.
Okay. Just pick a player.
I'm gonna pick.
Who are you gonna pick?
I'm conflicted. Conflicted. I'm gonna take Hunter Renfro.
Solid pick.
Really underrated route running.
100%. High motor.
My last pick, I'm going to
Sneaky athleticism.
a whole lot of grit. I'm going to keep with my Houston stack from a few rounds ago, and I'm going to take a stab at Nico Collins. I feel like this is good value for him in the last round of the draft. I have no more picks after this, so. And there is no free agency because, once again, this is a mock.
Nice.
So.
All right.
Good draft.
Nice draft, guys.
And then the final pick in the draft was Dawson Knox.
Yes. So,
Congrats, Dawson Knox.
if you all had to pick a team besides your own that we drafted, who you
It
pick?
has to be one of us. Like, I can't pick Team 9.
No, you can't.
Okay, just making sure.
Has to be us.
True. Let's look at everyone.
Trunks.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yay.
I think just drafting from that spot gives you an advantage. Like me personally this year, I like drafting from 6, 7, 8. I think the 6th and 7th round really put it over the top for me personally because those are two guys I was targeting, but I couldn't draft them at my position. But getting James Conner and Deontay Johnson that late to be your RB3 and wide receiver 3, like it's just an absolute steal. So
I have to agree. Trunks, your team is pretty nice.
Thank
pretty
you.
correct.
If I had to pick someone else's team, I think I'm going with Dean's team.
Nice.
Look.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My team sucks.
Okay.
Which team sucks?
It's just the running backs are my problem. That's what I was gonna say to you
Yeah.
before. It wasn't like the players. It was just the order in which you drafted the players.
Well, there were just no running back. I didn't like the
I know
running
it was.
back.
You were in a bad spot
I don't like drafting from the 1-1.
because the 1-1, like, if you were gonna go the way you went, you probably were better off taking McCaffrey
I guess, yeah.
and Jettas, right?
Yeah.
But would you want to take
then-
McCaffrey over Jettas?
And then
Yeah.
round 2 taking.
Still take Tony Pollard around too.
I mean, yeah, my team has elite receiver. Like this team has a chance.
Well, no, 100%.
I don't hate the
Bro,
team.
Jefferson
but
and
yeah.
Olave could carry you to a championship.
And my receivers did it last year.
I have 4 guys who their like upside is a top 12 fantasy wide receiver. So, yeah, that's the mock draft.
I feel like
Good
my
mock.
team's very middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. I could probably finish like
Again, same thing with you as the running backs.
I could
know.
I could sneak in to a playoff spot and then make some noise.
All right, so now we'll jump into this next segment. We like helping you guys win your fantasy football leagues. We honestly think that's our job,
Yeah.
to help you guys win your fantasy leagues and make some money.
Agreed.
So we're going to give you guys players that we are not drafting. We hate these players. We will never draft them based on their ADP and other factors. Just we think you should stay away from these players. We're going to give you 5 players each and, talk about it. I'll get started. My first guy is TJ Hawkinson. His ADP on sleepers of 43.7. He's going, the middle of the 4th round. I just think having guys underneath him like George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, Darren Waller, Evan Ingram. Then you go into the later rounds of the draft. You got Chiggy, you got Tyler Higbee, you got Greg Dulcich. I just think there's so much tight end value down the draft board that you don't have to spend a 4th round pick on TJ Hawkinson.
I agree.
I'm surprised at that. I kind of like drafting TJ Hawkinson. I think he could finish as high as 2 in tight ends.
No, TJ Hawkinson's cool for me, but he's top 5 tight end. But I agree with Chris. The 4th round's a bit of a stretch for him.
Going as the
personally-
3rd tight end off the board, I just don't want to draft him there.
Yeah, me personally, I wouldn't take him as the 3rd tight end.
Because he's not like Travis Kelce, we know, like barring anything crazy, is going to be the tight end 1.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Andrews, we know, barring anything crazy, is going to be the tight end 2. But TJ Hawkinson going as the tight end 3 in the draft, he's not a lock to be the tight end 3.
3 to 6 could be interchangeable.
Right. So I'd rather draft one of those other guys later on,
Right.
when they could finish just as high.
Waller, Kittle, and Hawk are all on the same level.
I think Pitts is in that tier
And
too. I
Pitts.
think Goddard's in that tier too, honestly.
And Goddard. So even 8.
I even think you could really make the case that Evan Ingram's in that tier too.
I love it.
Evan Ingram was great last year.
They just paid him.
Right. So, yeah, Hawkinson, I like Hawkinson, the player. I know I debated against him on the last episode, but, like, he's a good player. He's just going a little bit too high for my liking.
Mhm.
If I was drafting that in the 5th or 6th round, like where Goddard and Waller go, like, sick. That's awesome ADP, but 4th round, too high.
All right. For my first pick, honestly, I'm gonna go with another tight end. I'm gonna go with George Kittle. He's getting drafted. ADP's 46, tight end 4. While George Kittle's been really good past seasons, I feel like there's just too much in that offense this year. Too many mouths to feed, and they don't even have their quarterback figured out either. So that's another.
Well, I mean, we assume
it's gonna be Brock Purdy.
It will.
And when Brock Purdy plays,
He got
George
Kittle.
Kittle
Kittle was his number 1
George
option.
Kittle's is top 2 tight end in the NFL.
It's just I feel like there's for where he's getting drafted. I feel like it's too risky.
Risky in
you
terms
know,
of what?
Like I just
Him
feel like
getting
there's
hurt?
too many mouths to feed in that offense. And honestly, that's why I have Deebo Samuel on my list as well. He's getting drafted 37th. He's
Yeah.
the 16th wide receiver. There's just other players in that range that I would rather draft.
Deebo's
Like,
also on my list. Yeah,
yeah, like
Do we all have Debo on our list?
I guess so.
probably like just receiver wise, you could draft guys like DK Metcalf, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, all in that range. I'd rather have all of those guys than Deebo Samuel. Like,
Mhm.
that those guys are the number 1 in their offense. They have Brandon Ayuk on the 49ers. Who knows who's the number 1 receiver this year?
Right.
And like I said, Deebo and George Kittle, they're both going to take targets away from each other.
Yeah.
I just feel like that offense is very questionable this season in fantasy football.
Another receiver I'm staying away from. I know he's not getting drafted all too high, but Chris Godwin, man, his ADP is 62. They don't have a quarterback. Baker Mayfield.
They have your boy,
and
though.
Trask.
Baker Mayfield's like top 3 in your eyes.
And then Godwin's not even the number 1 receiver there. Mike Evans is clearly better. I know Godwin has talent, and I know when Tom Brady was there, he was a reliable fantasy option. But going into the season, I don't trust that Bucs offense whatsoever. I don't even think Mike Evans finishes the season on the Bucs.
Really?
Yeah, really. I think it becomes that bad there.
I don't see why Mike Evans is like getting drafted 10 picks later than Chris Godwin. It really doesn't make sense to
agree.
me.
I think Mike Evans is the most consistent receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's getting taken after Chris Godwin is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I don't think it's crazy that he's getting taken after him. It's just that there's a pretty good range between the two. Like 10 picks is a lot.
There should,
know?
Right, exactly.
A little more, honestly. It's 12 picks, the average. It's a whole round. I feel like that's kind of a big range for what it really is.
Mhm.
So actually, just speaking of one of the players we just named, I have once again not being drafted all too high. 14 picks below Chris Godwin is Mike Evans. I have Mike Evans not being drafted on my board personally, player who I'm not drafting. ADP is at 76. We know Mike Evans as being the epitome of consistent with hitting 1,000 yards every season, being an elite red zone, elite deep ball threat. I think the lack of quarterback play is going to play a huge factor in that, and his role is going to become very limited. Because let's say Baker Mayfield is the starter, I do not trust Baker Mayfield's arm for the deep balls that Mike Evans is used to, and I don't see them getting in the red zone very often. So
I disagree only because that ADP is not extremely high, and I think
agree,
the upside of Mike Evans outweighs that, and I think the consistency of Mike Evans outweighs that. I think consistently being the number 1 target for the last 8 years has really solidified that he will get balls. He will get targets, whether it's downfield, red zone. I know you don't see him going into the red zone all too often, but they're going to be there, and the ball's going to go to Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree. I kind of like drafting Mike Evans, honestly.
So he might actually have good value for where his ADP is.
But I can't see why people wouldn't want to draft him.
I definitely
Me
understand.
personally,
I've never drafted Mike Evans.
Yeah, me personally, I'm leaning away towards Mike Evans for those reasons.
Mm-hmm. But so you're definitely out on Chris Godwin then too, right?
Yeah.
Or
So
okay.
Mike Evans' fantasy seasons as a whole are interesting. So Mike Evans, although as a whole are consistent, but game to game basis in fantasy, he'll give you 6 points, 7 points, and then drop a 40-point game. And then give you 11, 12, 30. Like, yeah, you live for those 30, 40-point games, but then he'll give you goose eggs for 3 weeks in a row. You know what I mean? On a game-to-game basis, he's not so consistent in fantasy. In terms of a whole season, yes, he is consistent. He is the guy. But I agree with Ortiz in that sense.
Yeah, literally looking at last season, last 3 games. Week 16, he put up 5.9 points in PPR leagues. Week 17, 48.7.
Right. It's not game to game is not consistent with him.
Nah.
All right. So the next guy I'm not drafting is newly acquired, new situation. You might say he's playing with the best offensive line in all football. I'm not drafting DeAndre Swift. Going as the running back 23 in drafts, I just don't like the situation. We know Philly has used the running back by committee for all of this time. DeAndre Swift is a guy who has struggled to stay on the field consistently. They brought in Rashad Penny. They're talking up Kenneth Gainwell all training camp, all offseason. And then the guys going after him, I just trust their role more. You know, you got James Conner going after him, Rashad White, Cam Akers, James Cook. All of these guys who project to be the undisputed running back one in their offense are all going after him. So I'm staying away from DeAndre Swift.
I agree.
I have him on my list as well.
Yeah, I do too. He's getting drafted way too high, in my opinion.
Go us.
And I think Rashad Penny has a chance to be better than him this season. And by the way, neither of those guys are going to lead the team in rushing. It's going to be Jalen Hurts.
Of course. I mean, and with these 2 running backs, they're both made of glass too. So.
And they're really talking. I know we trolled Trunks for the Ken Gainwell pick of breakout players, but they've been talking him up all offseason. He might enter the season as the featured back.
Yep.
I mean, no one's really going to be featured in that offense, but the guy who starts the game getting the carries, it might end up being Ken Gainwell. So
yeah, I feel like the other guys you could draft in that range, running back wise, they're all more. What's the word?
they have a more
they're more
secure
safe.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Cam Akers, he has a better role. James Conner, better role.
Rashad White.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Another
with you
running
on
back that I don't particularly trust at the moment is Kenneth Walker. I'm not taking Kenneth Walker.
Mm-hmm.
They just picked Zach Charbonnet in the 2nd round. And I know that's not the biggest deal, but I think Zach Charbonnet is a very complete running back. And I think going into the season, hurt, possibly missing week 1, I think Kenneth Walker has a chance to lose a lot of touches this season.
Yeah, especially where he's getting drafted.
Right. I wouldn't. His ADP is 37, and I'm not comfortable taking Kenneth Walker late 2nd, mid 3rd round. I'm just not. I'm not taking him in that spot personally.
Yeah.
I like Ken Walker this year. I do think he's going a little bit too early, so he's not a guy I'm going out of my way to draft. But, you know, if he falls a few spots after his ADP, like, I'm cool with it. I just think, yes, in theory, going into the season hurt, they spend, you know, premium draft capital on another running back. That should concern you. But my thing with Ken Walker, the reason why I would draft him if I am going to draft him, I just think his talent outweighs all of that. I think he's such a talented running back. He's an elite runner of the football. He finished off last season so strong that I really don't think he's going to miss a beat. I think he's going to come in and still be the bell cow role in that offense. And I think the Zach Charbonnet pick was just for insurance. I don't think he's going to lose carries to Zach Charbonnet if he's healthy. But I do agree he is getting drafted a little bit too high.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to go with another running back. We talked about him before, going Breece Hall. His ADP is 31st.
I think that changes as of this morning, though. I really
it might. But even I don't even know where I would draft Breece Hall, even if it does change. Like, looking at these rankings, there's guys that are getting drafted a full round afterwards that I would rather have, like Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones. I just think it's too risky to draft a guy like Breece Hall in the 3rd round.
So
2nd round, 3rd round.
I also have Breece Hall on my list. So I'm going to list you guys, the running backs that are being drafted after him, that I would draft ahead of him. All of these guys I would draft before I draft Breece Hall. Travis Etienne, Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Dameon Pierce, Ken Walker, Miles Sanders, Cam Akers, Rashad White, James Conner. I'm drafting all of those guys before I draft Breece Hall.
I agree.
So he's going way too early in drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Way too early.
If he was coming in healthy and they didn't just sign Dalvin Cook, yes, he completely deserves
Yeah.
that spot and probably even higher.
He would be higher.
But that's just not the case, and I could not justify taking him before all the guys you just listed.
And then even when you look at the receivers, like, we just did that mock draft. Brees Hall was there for me in the 3rd round if I wanted to draft him. But, the Chris Olaves, all those guys I'm drafting before I draft Brees Hall.
Yeah.
I'm not – he might be the number 1 guy on my list that I will not draft him this year.
Me too. He is. Yeah.
And I think in most leagues he's going to fall. And you might be able to get a value for him.
Mhm.
I'd be shocked if, in a league where it's not computers drafting, not a mock draft where you have actual people, I'd be shocked if he goes in the 3rd round, honestly.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Keys, who do you got?
My bad. I was looking at something. Another player I have here is specifically for Sully. Actually, I am not drafting George Pickens this year. His ADP is at a 79, which is reasonable for I guess your wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 on a team. But me personally, I'm staying away from him because he's very inconsistent. He doesn't create enough separation when it comes to being a wide receiver. He does make the very good catches in traffic, but he's always going to be in traffic because he cannot create separation. And his yards after the catch are another big problem. He doesn't really do anything with the football after he catches it. He kind of just does nothing. He averaged 2 yards per catch last season, 2 yards after the catch. And I'm just staying away from George Pickens.
All right.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh.
George Pickens.
So another guy I have on my list, it's a receiver, and his name is Deebo Samuel, currently going as the wide receiver 16. I just think he was phased out of that offense last year once Brock Purdy became the starter and Christian McCaffrey got there. Brandon Ayuk looked like the better fantasy option there. And, he had that great season, but that was just such an outlier. He won't be used like that as a running back, as this utility guy like that ever again. He'll never have 9 rushing touchdowns in a season ever again. He's going before Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, all those guys. Just a huge list of guys I would draft before I draft Deebo Samuel.
We all had Debo.
Chris Baum. We talked about him
while you were in the bathroom.
Huh.
We all had Debo. But no.
Yeah,
You gave a good
yeah, he
explanation.
did. Yeah. My next guy, I'm gonna go with DeAndre Hopkins. He's getting drafted 48th, 21st wide receiver off the board. There's other guys in that range, wide receiver wise, like Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore, Jerry Jeudy, Drake London, Christian Watson. I feel like all those guys are safer and they don't have the injury history that Hopkins has. The past 2 seasons, he's been pretty banged up. And besides that, he's going to a new offense. He's got Ryan Tannehill as quarterback. We don't know what that's going to look like, really. I don't really like
Could be
DeAndre
Will
Hopkins where he's getting drafted. If he falls in drafts, then yeah, I would take him. If he falls like an extra round or something like that, I'd take a flyer on him. But I don't know. I don't like drafting there. No.
I don't love DeAndre Hopkins' draft position, but I definitely don't hate it. A guy going as the wide receiver 20 who a realistic ceiling for him is to be the wide receiver 1 overall. He's that talented, and he's going to an offense where he's going to get unlimited targets. We saw what Ryan Tannehill did with A.J. Brown there in that offense, that run-first offense with all the play action. Now you're adding a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, who you can make the case is the most talented receiver in all of football. So I think getting that guy as a wide receiver 20 with that type of upside, I don't know if I'd say it's a steal. He's not a guy who I'm going out of my way to draft, but I definitely don't hate his draft position.
I feel like we also saw something like that with Julio Jones, though. No, I guess
Julio was washed.
I guess at that point, AJ Brown was also still there, but
Julio was washed too.
Who is he really competing for targets with? He's competing with Treylon Burks, who hasn't proved anything in this league.
All right.
yeah,
Woods is there or no?
No,
he's
Robert
on the
Woods
Texans.
So
Chig is there. Like, there's really no competition for targets there. And like I said, we saw what this offense could do for an elite deep ball wide receiver with A.J. Brown. So I definitely don't hate the DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm also not drafting Treylon Burks. I don't know if anybody was, but I'm not.
Nah,
I'm also not drafting.
Does everyone still have at least one guy left on their list?
I was
No, I
about to say
said
my last guy.
You said you're 5?
Everyone else said my 5, but I was gonna just take a gamble and I was just looking at all the receivers, and someone who I'm staying away from this year because he's going in my range from that 8th pick range is a Cooper Kupp. Weird enough to say. It's hard to draft a wide receiver in the first round like that, where he's supposed to be your centerpiece. Your first round pick's obviously supposed to be the centerpiece of your team, the guy who's going to lead you to a championship. And Cooper Kupp, it's hard to come back with a lingering hamstring injury. It's just one of those red flags for me personally while I'm staying away from him. But I'm not taking anything away from him. He's a generational wide receiver with the way he puts up numbers. Me personally, I'm just not taking him in drafts.
I could see it. I mean, I like Cooper Kupp. I think he's guaranteed to get all the targets there. I think he's guaranteed to be the centerpiece of that offense. I think maybe not as high. Like I probably wouldn't take him top 2.
No,
Personally,
he's
but
like 5th pick.
But I think
4th,
5th, 6th pick, there's just not an overabundance of running backs that I would take in that spot. I think by that time, McCaffrey's gone. Eckler might be gone. The next up is you're talking about Bijan, Nick Chubb, Tony Pollard. And Cooper Kupp, I think, is going to average more points than all those guys.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, Kupp's floor, if he's healthy, is the wide receiver 4.
Yeah.
That's his floor. Absolute floor.
It just depends if he's healthy or not.
So I'm not drafting Joe Mixon.
Wow.
I'm not.
That's crazy.
I'm not doing it.
Why?
I just, from the inconsistency that I've seen from Joe Mixon and the injuries, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I've had Joe Mixon before, and I've been disappointed. I haven't been happy as a fantasy manager of him. I'm not doing it this year.
I love Joe Mixon this year, especially where he's getting drafted. Like you saw in the mock drafts, what I get him 4th round.
He's average 39.
Yeah, I love him there personally. I feel like he could be an RB1.
I just feel like there's other guys, bro. I feel like I'm
Who
taking
in that range.
I'm
I feel like
taking
he's number
Gibbs.
1 for me.
I'm taking ETN. I'm taking Aaron Jones. I'm probably taking Kenneth Walker still.
I don't know. I'm taking.
But
Mixon
those are
over
all
those
guys who go before him.
Not particularly. Aaron Jones goes after.
Aaron Jones is the only one who goes after him.
And I'm
Kenneth Walker goes after.
I'm arguably taking
After
Mixon before
Mixon?
them.
Ken Walker goes
Very-
after Mixon?
Yeah.
No, he's before.
No,
He's before him.
definitely before.
Anyway, I don't like Mixon this year.
So the player that I'm avoiding at all costs this year, Mike Williams. I will not draft Mike Williams this year.
Yep.
Currently going as the wide receiver 30. I'm scared of Mike Williams. Injury history concerns me a shit ton. Drafting Quentin Johnston scares me a shit ton. And the guys going after him, I just like more. Hollywood Brown's going 1 pick after him. Mike Evans is going 3 picks after him. Christian Kirk going after him. Deontay Johnson going after him. Those are just guys who I think their targets are more secure. And also, they don't have the injury history that completely scares me away.
And I think on that team, Eckler and Keenan are guaranteed targets.
Right.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I think Mike Williams ends up being the odd man out, especially with Quentin Johnson hopping on the spot.
Right. So let me just do the TikTok intro because I forgot to do that. Who's one player you're avoiding in fantasy drafts based on their average draft position? Nice. The power of editing. All right.
Cool.
Draft your perfect running back using current players only. So the categories are body, speed, strength, elusiveness, vision, and pass catching.
All right.
Can you say that one more?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Body,
Mm-hmm.
speed, strength, elusiveness, vision, and pass catching, receiving.
Nice. Wow. Big running back.
All right. So we'll go in a circle.
Yeah, do I get the first pick because I did the intro?
Hell yeah.
Which way are we going? Towards Ortiz or towards Trunks?
We can go Ortiz.
All right.
Fuck.
Sorry, Trunks. But you get back-to-backs.
True.
All right. With the first pick, it's a no-brainer. Give me that big old body of Derrick Henry.
Nice.
That's pretty good pick there. It's a good category to get off first.
Yeah.
Body was a good one. I want to go with the pass catching ability of Christian McCaffrey, our first pick.
Okay.
You said Christian McCaffrey?
I did.
Huh.
Huh.
Hmm. I'm going body of Saquon.
Damn.
Body of Saquon.
I was going to take the elusiveness of Saquon. I can't
Saquon's
do
body
that.
is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
Those tree trunk thighs.
Hmm.
He does got nice thighs.
So my first pick. This one's certain. I'm going to take the pass catching of Austin Eckler. But now, I have a player in mind. But which one do I want to use it for?
Which attribute?
Which attribute do I want to use it for? I'm going to go with the Yeah, I'm going to go with the strength of Nick Chubb.
Darn.
Nice pick.
I actually
Thank you.
look what I wrote down next to strength.
Yeah, that was
I'm surprised
definitely
you didn't take him.
that was definitely on my queue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But look at this. I had Chubb, question mark, question mark, question mark. Now I'm deleting it all.
I'm going to go with the speed of Bijan Robinson.
Interesting.
With my next pick, I'm gonna get body out of the way. I'm gonna go body of Najee Harris.
Smart pick.
I like that.
With my next pick, I'm gonna take the strength of Josh Jacobs. And then after that, I'm gonna take the elusiveness. Actually, no. I'm gonna take the vision of Jonathan Taylor.
Damn, bro.
Cool.
Fuck.
I have no idea which character I'm
Damn.
gonna go with next. So, who said Saquon? You said Saquon, right? For some,
Mhm.
okay, so I can't take him. Eckler was said. That was said. That was said. I'm going to go with. I'm gonna go with elusiveness here. I'm gonna go Tony Pollard.
Nice. I'm going to take the vision of Alvin Kamara.
Hmm. Indeed.
You took the vision of Kamara.
I did.
Interesting.
I'm gonna go with the body of Ezekiel Elliott.
Nice pick.
So
And then you know what? I'm gonna go with the speed of Raheem Mostert.
Nice pick.
Cool.
Thank you.
I'm taking the pass catching ability of Jahmyr Gibbs.
are you fucking kidding me? I was gonna take his speed. Now I have to think again. Because now I want speed. Bijan was already said. Give me the speed of Zach Charbonnet. Sure.
Okay.
So With my next pick, I'm gonna go with the speed of Devon Achane. Devon Achane. And I'm gonna take the elusiveness of Ramondre Stevenson.
So I have vision and strength left. Who has vision? Who could see?
Who could see?
It's a sick question.
Not everyone.
Not everyone.
Apparently.
Well, it's not really apparently. I mean, some people can't see.
In the NFL, bruh.
Oh, well. Yeah, most of them could see. Give me the strength of big body boy.
Big body boy.
Actually, give me the vision of. I'm gonna go Cam Akers.
Cool. I'm taking James Conner's strength.
That's a good pick.
I'm gonna go with the vision of Dalvin Cook and the elusiveness of Javonte Williams.
It's a good pick too.
Thank you.
I'm gonna take the elusiveness.
Talking to the mic.
I'm gonna take the elusiveness of DeAndre Swift.
It's a good pick also.
And my final pick, I'm taking. I really hope someone hasn't said this. I look like a fool, but the strength of Javonte Williams
You
with a healthy.
just put
Literally
Javonte
just
in.
said Javonte.
Oh wow, did he?
Yep.
Look like a fool. Say what I say.
God
I like my player.
your dream guy, your dream
Yeah.
man.
My dream
Then
man.
give me the strength of Jamal Williams.
Say it again.
Give me the strength of Jamal Williams.
Say it like you mean it. We're recording a TikTok.
Give me the strength of Jamal Williams.
Nice. You got upset because he told you to say it again, but he was talking over you. And then you said it.
Yeah.
Like this. With the last pick in the draft, I'm going to take the pass catching ability of the next coming of Christian McCaffrey, Antonio Gibson, former college wide receiver.
Yay.
Boo.
So we'll read our players real quick. I have the body of Derrick Henry, the vision of Jonathan Taylor, the strength of Josh Jacobs, the speed of Devon Achane, the elusiveness of Ramondre Stevenson, and the receiving ability of Antonio Gibson.
I have the body of Najee Harris, the strength of Jamal Williams, the speed of Zach Charbonnet, the vision of Cam Akers, the elusiveness of Tony Pollard, and the pass catching ability of Christian McCaffrey.
Nice. So I have the body of Saquon, winky face, speed of Bijan Robinson, strength of James Conner, elusiveness of DeAndre Swift, Kamara's vision, and the pass catching ability of Jahmyr Gibbs.
I have the body of Ezekiel Elliott, the speed of Raheem Mostert, the strength of Nick Chubb, the elusiveness of Javonte Williams, the vision of Dalvin Cook, and the pass catching of Austin Eckler.
So who is the best player?
Me.
Me.
Other
Me.
than me?
Yeah, anyone but you.
Anyone but me? I
Go
like
with-
Trunks guy.
Thank you. I'll go with Chris.
I'm going to go with you, Trunks.
Thanks.
I like Ortiz's build.
Let's go. The sleeper build.
Yeah.
Damn, I won both things today. I got the most votes for
All right,
everything.
Wow.
I changed my vote.
You can't. It's too late.
Let's go.
On
All right.
that note, I'm leaving for work.
Well, I
Let's
guess
do the
we're-
outro.
We're yeah.
We're done.
We're done
Shit,
now,
never
bro.
mind.
No one has any other TikToks?
No.
All right, that's good. Thank you guys so much for watching. Huge shout out to our sponsors over at SeatGeek. If you guys don't know, SeatGeek is the best ticketing app on the market. They grade their deals on a score of 1 to 10, but also with colors. The green deals, they're good deals. You want to buy those. The red deals, not so much. Stay away from those. I'm definitely going to be using SeatGeek for any Jets or Giants game I go to this season. Again, shout out to SeatGeek. And if you use the code BallGamePod at checkout of your first purchase, you get $20 off. Again, that's code BallGamePod. Shout out to SeatGeek. thank you to everyone for watching. Be sure to leave a like on the stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. If you're listening on audio platforms, give us a 5-star. Tell your mom, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell everyone in your family, and
Tell your pet fish.
tell your pet fish. And with
Fish
that,
died yesterday.
BallGame, BallGame, BallGame.
That was BallGame.
BallGame, 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 BallGame.